You know, I don't even blame the actors and the writers for going on strike, because at some point you got to put your foot down with this type of stuff. Because if you continue to let people, if you show somebody that they don't have to fully value you, they will continue that pattern because you allowing it.
You know, that's just a life, statement, if you think about it, because you're going to teach people how to treat you, right?
Right.
Your character is how people come to know you. So, for example, if you, for example, I was like, hey, Rico, oh my God, what are you doing here on time? You might be like, why are you saying that? Why do you always say that?
Yeah. Because
you're never on time. Or, you know what, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and take care of the bill this time. What's wrong with Michael? Why are y'all looking at me like this? Because you never pay. It's what people come to know about you. So in essence, you're going to teach people how to treat you. And standing up for yourself in this moment, you are just saying, hey, listen, this is just not acceptable. I can't meet my wages. I can't make my rent. I can't feed my children. So you're going to teach people to essentially not play with you in that area. And when it comes to money, you can say this all day. People say all day, money doesn't buy happiness. I slightly disagree. But I will say that your baseline dignity, I operate like that on a day-to-day basis. My baseline, rent and car and food and the things that I need for my children, that has to be met first before Natasha buys a dress or gets her hair done or gets anything. That is non-negotiable for me in my life.
Right.
So if I am doing something and you're not aiding me in what's non-negotiable for me, then I might have to speak out about that. Because I don't really think, no one's asking for anything more than just their baseline dignity to be compensated fairly.
Right.
I don't think it's a difficult ask. But to your point, as you mentioned earlier, there is something very special when you do have your own platform or your own way of making content that no one else can control but you.
Yeah, because that's how I love that we living in the era where we can take our power into our own hands and create our own destiny, because the people that have their own platforms, such as a Kountry Wayne or Desi Banks or, all these funny creatives that went the independent route and really just turned something out of nothing.
Absolutely. They figured it out.
Yeah, they figured it out. So when strikes come, it's still business as usual.
Absolutely. Because it's theirs.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You can't control what's not yours, because we handle this business over here. So with that said, a lot of times there's fear in just creating your own or doing what you have to do to research or figure out. And it's just best to whatever time that you have to invest in yourself, take that time to learn so that you're not really put in a corner when things like this happen.
Yeah, that goes back to what they say when they say you got to boss up.
Absolutely.
A lot of times we run away from that responsibility of creating our own thing just because of the responsibility. But later on, when you have situations like this, taking that chance on yourself and rolling the dice, it really comes in handy.
Absolutely. It's a discipline that people have to understand that they have to develop within themselves. No one can force you to become disciplined, right? If you want to learn something, I can go to class and I can have a facilitator and I can have the book and I can have all the tools, but that's not going to make me learn. I have to want to learn it. I have to want to take the time. That's only an hour-long classroom setting. I still have so much more to learn than even in that setting. So then I have to go home on my own time, research more. And oftentimes, like I tell my children, a teacher may teach you something and you may not understand it in that moment. That's why you have to be self-taught. You have to come home with the notes that she has given you or that he has given you, just so that you can have a baseline. What we call that is guidance, but you figure it out on your own. And once you learn how to figure things out on your own, really the sky's the limit. When you think of, and that's life. I don't think that in this day and age, there is nothing that no one can do. I say this all the time to my siblings. My father and my Uncle Charles, they were so ahead of their time because we were making videos and skits in the 80s. And I'm talking about my uncle would be like, I wrote a song. You're going to sing the lead. You're going to be back. And we're like, we don't want to do that.
Right.
And but they were just ahead of their time. Had they been in this generation, my goodness, because they had so many ideas. And my uncle is a full-fledged attorney, well, was in Los Angeles, and spent his time literally all day working corporate job, being an attorney, and at night he would do videos, and at night he would do skits, and on the weekends. So he definitely was ahead of his time.
Wow.
But there's nothing you can't learn, nothing you can't do. My daughter, if something were wrong with her car, could probably figure it out if she had that corresponding discipline. Google it. Look right online. Don't get me wrong. We want to make sure that there's somebody available for her. I get it, but what I'm saying is she could do it if she wanted to.
Right, we
have access to everything now.
I get you, because YouTube, like, man, that's a whole university
right
in
there.
its own.
Right there.
Like, you can learn how to do so much from YouTube. I remember, because I like to go fishing.
Do you?
Yeah, I love fishing. So I remember I got tired of, like, when I go fishing, when I was younger, like, I wasn't really sure how to properly fillet a fish, you know. So I just, when I clean it, but I still like have the bones in it.
Okay.
So now I'm picking around the bones, and I'm like, hey man, enough is enough. So I went on YouTube.
There you go.
And it taught me how to fillet a fish.
Voila.
And ever since then, I have not choked on fish bones. And on that note, we gonna start this show, man. Check Runners podcast start right now. Yee.
Check Runners. Check Runners.
Hey, it's your favorite cousin at the cookout, Rico Ramil. Check out my brand new book, Get Rich and Praise God, man, on Amazon.com right now. Everything you need to learn how to secure that bag like a boss is right here in this book, man. I went from sleeping in a 1984 Buick LeSabre to living full-time off the gifts I was born with. And I want to show you how to do the same thing, man. Get Rich and Praise God, man, on Amazon.com right now.
Check Runners. Check Runners.
Hey, man, welcome to a brand new episode of the biggest podcast in the world, Check Runners Podcast, baby.
Check Runners.
Gotta throw that baby. Sound like somebody perverted uncle, right?
You actually do. You actually do.
Hey, man, today is a special episode. We got a queen in here today, man. She's been highly requested.
Aww.
Everybody, my audience on YouTube, you welcome. Because they've been blowing me up about this young lady over here. I mean, you seen it in the Country Wayne skits. You know, just giving you range after range after range. Next, you're going to see her on your TV screen picking up a couple of awards.
I receive it.
She gonna be picking up a Oscar. What is called when you get all of the awards? She gonna get a Tony. What is called when you got all of them?
I don't even know what it's called when you get all of them, but we gonna get all of them.
I need to call Rafi. I know he know. But anyway, none other than the one, the only Miss Natasha Soulrich.
In the building. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh man, it's my honor, man. You know, you my sister from another mister.
And you know what? You check up on me just like that. So I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, like people that I got genuine love for, I ain't even gotta want nothing.
You don't ever want anything.
I
You just check in. You just want to make sure I'm good.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Because you just never know. You can't never assume from a distance and seeing somebody on social media that they cool.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so key. I wish so many people realize that, because it is just my opinion, but social media is not real. It's the version that we want to show to the public, right? So somebody could deeply be hurting, and you just will never know, because they're going to put up a facade, because that's what feels good. That's what gets likes. But to your point, the fact that you just have a heart for people, just to check in, to check on their heart, their soul. How's your, how are your emotions this particular week? That's just really dope in this day and age.
Yeah, because I feel like we just need more of that energy. Because especially in the black community, we didn't got in the habit of, if somebody serves me, if somebody doesn't benefit me, I don't want nothing to do with them attitude.
Absolutely.
It's just like, even with like relationships, you can be dating somebody, they super cool, but if you feel like, oh, okay, they ain't got enough money to sponsor whatever I got going on, they hold no value, all right, goodbye. Or if a person feel like, you cool, but you ain't really plugged in like that, so I can't really use you, so let me go.
Yeah. It's this, very quick to dispose of a person.
Yeah.
But it could be of so much more value than just monetary. They can just hold a ton of wisdom that you will actually need in a situation. So don't be so quick to discard people, truly. Just based on what you're saying, I have learned that. I typically don't do people that way, unless, of course, you are burdening me.
Right.
That's a different type of release that I have to, because I'm so easy. I am so easy to get along with, and I just have a few little boundaries. And if we can stay in this realm, I'm going to respect you, you respect me, we're going to always be cool.
Right.
It's not until those things are crossed,
You right, because sometimes it's mandatory that you cut somebody off.
Sometimes it is it's mandatory.
Like, you ever ask somebody how they doing and you instantly regret it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, how you doing? They just go straight to like naming all their problems. Like,
it is like a dumpster. If you can imagine a dump truck filled with trash. I mean, they have collected all the little tiny trash cans all throughout the day. And you make that phone call. And all of that trash just gets compiled on you. I never, ever, even if I'm going through something, call someone and unload on them in that way. Yeah. I always ask, like, do you have a minute to talk? Or I'm dealing with something.
Right.
Really, do you have the mental capacity or the space to be able to convey what I need? Don't do that, y'all.
Yeah.
Ask people.
Sometimes it's cool to just be like, oh, it's all good, and keep it moving.
Absolutely. Sometimes,
but if it's just to the point where you about to bust and you need to talk to somebody, like, but don't be that same person like for the past 2-3 years. Every time I ask you what's going on, you got like a whole checklist of problems.
It's got to get shorter, people.
Yeah.
You have got to find some solutions to these problems. Like, we cannot keep talking about the same things over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I say this: the things that you claim in your life, they end up belonging to you. Like, if you claim in a struggle, that struggle will be yours.
That's good.
If you claim in poverty, if you claiming to be broke, that it's gonna belong to you because you claimed it.
Absolutely.
Like, when we go to the airport and we picking up our luggage and baggage claim, and we go pick it up and we see the tag with our name on it. If from a distance, you could be stealing somebody's baggage.
Absolutely.
But if you go pick up that baggage and I see you across the room, I'm going to assume that baggage belongs to you.
Absolutely.
So the same thing with how we speak things into our lives. I ain't mean to go that deep.
No, but that's actually wisdom that people need to hear. What you constantly think about eventually makes its way to you, right? It's exactly what you said. I don't know that that's my luggage. I have a black bag. You have a black bag.
Right.
But it's not until you see it in my hand or I pull up that handle to drag it with me. from a distance. You just, hey, that must have been her bag.
Right.
So when you do unload on someone, or you're constantly talking about, oh, this, or my job, or my children, or this, and really in a negative way, you are attracting that same energy. You got to change that energy, and you're going to have to say the opposite of what's going on with you, so that you can actually change your circumstances.
Yeah.
It's all internal.
Yo, that's why it's called faith. Believing in the things that you don't see.
Absolutely.
Like, no matter how much amount of money is in your bank account, if you sit up there and tell yourself you successful and you a millionaire enough times, sooner or later, and you believing it in your head, sooner or later, I feel like God would start doing things, and he would tilt things over in your direction that will bring you to the things you are speaking.
Absolutely. Faith, however, without works is dead.
Yeah.
So we're going to just have to put that plug in there too, because you can't just look at it and assume it's going to come to you. You have to actively work for it. You have to actively have ideas and actively pursue it. Now, I feel personally, when you do what you have to do in the natural, that's when God comes in supernaturally, and he just catapults you, because your faith is then attached to your works, and then God says, she's got it. He's got it. And then he just kind of propels you. Oh, man.
That's so beautiful, man. That's so beautiful. And I be very passionate when I'm talking about God, because I am, a witness to the miraculous things that he can do in your life.
Amen.
And so I can be out and I can see somebody, I can just see something in somebody's spirit, man. And I just, hey, look, no matter what's going on in your life, just trust God. Mm-hmm. And he would, because he is ready to do the things we need him to do.
Absolutely.
We just got to believe him for it.
Absolutely.
We got to expect them.
Absolutely.
Because when you serve a big God, you can expect things from him, because he want to do major things in your life so the glory can come back to him.
Thank him in advance. He wants to do it. He's just really waiting on us, to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you said earlier, changing your mindset. Believing, what's the point of having faith if we're never going to use it?
Right. And like you said, don't listen to this and be like, oh yeah, let me just sit in bed every day because they told me like I just have faith. Like, nah, like put in a little work.
Absolutely.
Like, even just do all you can do. And if you can't figure out what to do beyond that point, that's when you say, okay, God, you got it. I didn't did my work.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, if you don't put in work, how can he take you serious and trust you with the things you asking for?
Absolutely.
But I hope y'all learned something from that. We gonna call that. I'm gonna call that little segment there the praise hour.
Okay.
The praise break. Now, Miss Natasha, tell me this: how easy or difficult is it to play your role in the Country Wayne skits?
So, it's very easy to play this role. It really is. It just really comes natural to me. I think what is most interesting about this particular role is it's not who I am in real life. So when you all see me out in the streets, there's always this sense of hesitancy. Right. Because they just don't know, can I approach her? It is really just a character. But I will say a lot of my life experiences, like just what we were speaking about, I am in leadership and I am in management in my corporate role, right? Yeah. So I have seen those type of powers. I have seen those type of leaders. So in my experiences, what we said earlier, faith without works. So God has been using those experiences all this time. Now, little did I know it was going to be used in this way. But I can actually pull from experiences that I've had with managers that were not so great, or people who were overly authoritative, or people who just mistreated people. I can pull from those experiences to create this character that was needed in the skits.
Right.
So I hope you guys caught what I was saying. In my real life job, without knowing it, for all those years that I was doing it, I don't really know where I'm looking, just for the record. I just want to throw that out there. Is it here?
Yeah.
Up here, down here. Because I don't feel like I'm looking at the people.
Either or.
Either one. Okay, so sorry for that pause. But in my real day-to-day job, those experiences that I've had with people, it kind of comes back to your remembrance, right? And I'm able to use those interactions that I didn't necessarily like to create this character.
That makes sense. Because you answered the question before I even got to it. Because I was definitely going to ask you, what do you pull from to play that character? Because it's the complete opposite of who you are. Like I put out the little 3-minute interview we did when we first met, and then people saw that, they was like, "She's nothing like," because like you are your character is a real like toughie.
She's tough, absolutely,
and don't play no games.
Right. She has a wall around her. She doesn't want to hear it. It is essentially her way or no way, and she's always right. I think we've all experienced someone like that in our life. Maybe not to the extent that Natasha, the character, has created. Yeah. She's an extremely dominant woman, and she plays zero games. But I take little pieces of people who I feel have just overstepped their boundaries in leadership, and I just kind of pull it all together to create that.
So like you mean like in real life?
In real life. So I have had managers that I have not enjoyed working with. And when I have 2 degrees in business administration, and I actively manage. I manage people, I manage lives, I do all kinds of things. Now, in my experience, when I've had managers that weren't necessarily the best, I always would say to myself, Natasha, you don't want to be this person. Natasha, remember how that made you feel. So I just would remember these instances with, and keep in mind, I've been doing this for a very long time. So it's not one person, it's several people. So with that said, when acting entered my life and I was asked to play this role, as I had to think and really create or develop this character, I thought about those moments and those people that I just didn't necessarily enjoy. And that's who Natasha has been created from. And
Mike Bless brought you into the skits, right?
He did. And really what's so interesting about that, it was initially designed just for a very short amount of time. He just asked me if I could come in and give, at the time, the lead Ashanti, it may be Ashani. I always said her name wrong in the skits deliberately. Right. So now that it matters, I'm not saying it right. But Ashani, you got to give this lady a hard time, right? She's new in this office. I'm creating this office space. And I said, okay, I can do it. So I think it was designed to just be there like 4 or 5, maybe 6 times. I don't know. Not very much. But somehow, although it's the character that people have come to love to hate, it grew on people and they were curious about her. So that extended my journey on the Country Way skits. So I have you all to thank for that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you shown like so many different layers. Like you didn't show the co-worker side. You didn't show the boss side. You didn't show the girlfriend side. You didn't show the sister side, the neighbor side. Right. You know, so it like, every time I see you, like, I can't say on screen. Well, still on screen because, like, my phone screen.
Absolutely.
Because our phones, that's the new cable.
Absolutely. It is so convenient to have that phone in your hand, and I am so blessed that I can create content or be a part of a platform that creates content where you can have that accessibility and you can make your day. I think the one part of doing skits that has just honored me truly is when I am out or I get an opportunity to meet you and someone has had the worst possible day that they could have. And with tears in their eyes, they will say, you know, I watched the skits and I just felt better and y'all are so crazy and y'all are so silly. And you don't know the power of that phone. You don't know the power of what that phone can do for you. And I'm not even just relating to skits. I'm relating to that's a pretty powerful device in your hand. There was a page, which I won't mention, that I would follow back in the day as I would continually study business because I study business all the time. And I remember on this page it said, if you've paid $1,000 for the phone in your hand, but that phone is not making you $1,000 a month, then there's a problem.
Oh, wow.
So with that said, the phone is capable of doing so much more, and it's just not even skit related. You can create a business. You can become an image consultant. You can do so much with this phone. The goal was figure out how to make $1,000 with the phone that you just paid $1,000 for monthly. So I have the pleasure of doing something that I just love and creating a character that you all seem to enjoy. And just like that, you can be in the airport, you can be home, you can be very aggravated with your boss at work and go sit in your car for 15 minutes and watch this content and laugh. And at the end of the day, that's what we want to make people do.
Yeah, and it's like your character be so serious that it's funny.
It's so hard, too, because in the midst of, I wish you all knew how funny it is backstage. It is just so funny. Like, we laugh for real. Like, when we're together or if you are recording, or it doesn't matter. Like, what you all see is just a clip of what we choose to show you. Like, what we got right, and here it is. But behind the scenes, it's so funny. So Natasha does not get that leeway in the skits, because it doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter if somebody said something so remarkably funny that I, too, want to laugh. That character can't laugh. So I have to wait. I have to hold it until we cut, and then I can laugh. So that's the difficult part about playing Natasha, because I love to laugh. I love to laugh.
Nah, I bet any type of money is like super hard when you doing a skit with Wayne, though, the most.
Unreal.
Because you got to be so serious.
I was not ready.
And Wayne got like so many jokes.
I was not ready for Wayne. And unreal, just brilliant how quickly he just can come up with something unrelated. We will review the skit before we do it, and then God will just deposit it to him in that moment. And of course, he just says it. And you, meaning me, Natasha, just has to hold it. Now, for you all, it's just funny in the moment. You have to laugh, but he is so quick and so witty, and I am just so blessed to just really get to see how his mind works.
Yeah.
But imagine that being your day-to-day life, playing this character who is just tough as nails and does not care. So I have to always drop in two. But the joke is right here in your face, and cannot even curl my lip up to smile, because that's not the character. So that's the most difficult part about being Natasha in a world of comedy.
Which skit comes to the top of your head when you think like, man, I really created something with that. I really like brought something out of myself in this moment in that skit, or I really surprised myself?
You know, many of them, to be very honest with you. And I think predominantly what comes to mind is when I was in the office with Mike. Mike, when he was writing for the character originally. Right. So thank you, Mike, for creating this character and allowing me to continue to contribute to her. But in those different moments when he was just this aggravating character, right? Natasha was just this brilliant attorney, or is this brilliant attorney, and on time, smart, witty about her business. And here is this chip guy that just came in to aggravate her. So I just remember times where I was having a meeting. Let's just say you and I were in the room. Right. And he would come in to the meeting like he belonged there. So I had to pull from this place of and then just say the most interesting things in that moment, because he too would come up with some very, very witty things to say in that moment. So as we continued the office scenes, it was just really nice to see how she continued to grow and develop. One scene particularly that I thoroughly enjoyed and got the most heat for was when I glued Mike's lips together.
Yeah, oh my God.
And that was one of the best scenes, because when his lips were glued together, in essence, there was no more dialogue. And we felt it in the scene. So I had to then just pick up and start talking and say, what's the problem? We're going to need you to speak. This is your opportunity. This is what you've been waiting for. And it's funny because he's like standing there. So I'm trying not to laugh at him, but be the stern person. Like, these people are waiting, Mike. So with that said, the office allowed me to develop her, which now gave her just this really hard outer exterior, and now people get to see her soften a little bit in certain areas. But the minute it goes left, she comes right back.
Oh yeah, like a pit bull. Like, I ain't playing no games.
You guys have so much to be surprised about now that Natasha has relationship going on in the skits, I will just say that it is about to get real crazy. It's about to get really crazy.
What do you think you learned since you've been, on this journey with the whole family? What you think you learned and picked up from Kountry Wayne and Mike?
So much. First of all, let's just talk about work ethic. I was always a believer of that. Before the skits became an opportunity for me, if I was not with my children, I'm going to work.
Right.
I am creating something. I am developing something. I'm writing down ideas. But just the work ethic, it takes, I know it's a simple skit and it's 3 to 5 minutes on your phone. I've seen this from Chase as well. There is just a constant mindset. Like I said earlier, there's a corresponding discipline that goes with creating those skits. Now, although it's fun, there still is a discipline in place. And being able to see it, you can mimic it in your own life for the things that you have to do. And it's kind of like losing weight, which I have to keep telling myself to do. Anyway, Natasha, stay focused. If you do something little by little, eventually you're going to see the change, right? And when you see someone continually work, and I'll just use you for an example, continually there, continually ready to go. Like when people show up for you, you being there allowed me to be in character because I didn't have to worry. You were there to do your job, which made me capable of doing mine. So when you're around people with that mindset, you kind of develop that for yourself, essentially, and you can just apply it to your own life. Not just the skits. I'm just saying there's a discipline that it takes to be successful. So a high level of work ethic is what I would say initially.
Yeah, that's a dope trait to pick up from somebody because it's easy to get around a situation and get kind of like lazy because you got a whole team of people like working this and working that, so you can feel like, I can just lay back a little bit.
Call me when you guys are ready.
Yeah.
But really, in those moments, you should be learning. You should be observant. You should take notes. Personally, I have a card line that I am developing, and I am so proud of it, but it's been in the works. But what I am saying is, even though this is skits, I can take those disciplines that I see, and it's applicable to what I'm doing at home, right? This is a card line that's just very, very different from any other card line that you've seen. But once again, there is a discipline to make sure that it's relevant. There's a discipline. There's things I have to research as it relates to people's emotions so that those cards can provide the hope that I'm expecting them to provide for people. People are emotionally damaged. They got a lot of stuff going on. So with that said, the skit world and the disciplines I see there have been applicable to what I'm doing personally at home. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be running JJ's tires and ribs combined. Don't, because I wouldn't eat there nor get my tires there. But anyway, if you were. The
crazy part about it, they might actually got some good ribs, though.
It's always the dirty places that have the best ribs. If I go in a restaurant and it's not necessarily up to par, the food's going to be really good. It's always the case.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be somebody in the back. They're going to have like that arm fat. They're going to be like hanging out. Like if I go on a spot and I see the cook, she got that little extra fat right there on her arms. Man, I'm finna sit down and take my shoes off.
She's been cutting onions and celeries and bell peppers since 5 a.m. That woman right there is ready to
5 a.m. 5 a.m. since 1988.
Correct, that part.
And that arm fat still ain't went nowhere. She been in the kitchen.
Absolutely. So I think that it's best. There was always a saying, even from when I was a little girl, if you are in a room with 5 millionaires continually, you're going to be the sixth. And not necessarily if you're lazy, but if you're observant.
Right.
So this is not, me speaking that wisdom to you all is not referring to the skits. What I'm saying is that get around people that can influence you and inspire you. That is all.
That's dope, man. Is it somebody like a character or actor that you ever find yourself like when you trying to get in your mode to play in a certain skit that you be like, let me pull from Angela Bassett when she was in this role, or let me pull from Anita Baker when she was on that stage giving y'all these hits. Like you ever do that?
So for Natasha, sometimes I'll pull from Kathy Bates' Misery.
Ah.
Because when she wanted to get her point across, and you will rewrite this book because I did not like how it was going to end, there is just this very still tone. And my acting coach, Bruce Blackshear, was phenomenal in showing me how stillness is powerful. Right? So
what you mean by that?
So Natasha could come in the room and say, and I'll just use this because it was used in class and it just was so empowering for me. Natasha, the character, can simply be can run in here and be very loud because it's her demeanor, right? She has this hard exterior. You can we cuss on here?
Go ahead.
We ain't gonna do it because you paused. And I'm not a cusser, but every mofo in here is going to die today, right? And just be loud and just be egregious in that way.
Yeah.
Or I can come in, like the Natasha that I've developed, and there's power in the stillness, and just lock the door and say, everybody in this room is about to die.
Yeah, that was way more scary.
It's a little scarier, right?
I got scared then.
Weren't you scared? See?
Yeah.
I don't want to scare you.
Terrified.
See? But in that stillness, really, people might be like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, like, it sounds more believable.
Absolutely. So in developing her, the stillness is where the power is created for her. As people come at me or everybody gets really, what you won't do, or, it might get loud.
Yeah.
I will just gently say, we'll see about that. And then walk away. So there is a way that I have enjoyed creating her and remembering what I was taught in that power and stillness. And when delivering certain lines, just making it very clear. Okay, I'm not to be played with.
That is awesome, man. You putting on a clinic right now, because I'm quite sure, amongst your fans and the people that admire you, it's somebody that want to be an actor out there. And they looking at you and taking notes.
Do it, absolutely. And what I will always recommend for those that are wanting to act is to train and to have a better understanding of how to develop a character. I came in the game wanting to be a voiceover actress. And that was it. I did not want to be in front of a camera.
Really?
I wanted to be able to go into Publix and go into AMC and not be known. But when you opened up a textbook, I wanted to be chapter 1 and start reading it for you.
Yeah.
Or if you were listening to a story, be the narrator of that story.
So you never wanted to be an actor?
Not a film actress, no.
Wow.
I only wanted to do voiceover acting or play characters on a microphone. Seeing it come to life, but no one really knew it was me.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people get in the game and there is something about fame which people seem to enjoy, right? And although prayerfully and thankfully, with the help of God, this opportunity has created a lot of that. I can't go anywhere without being pulled to the side now. But Natasha Elizabeth never wanted that. I'd rather have the money and leave the fame right there.
Right.
But it kind of comes together. It just kind of comes with the package, essentially. So train for the actors that are coming and study. I studied 4 days a week without fail for 2 years. 4 days because I knew nothing about film acting. I wanted to be a voiceover actress. So with that said, I had some work to do. I had some catching up to do because so many people, even in the class setting, had been in that setting for 5, 10, 15 years, right? So I am just remarkably blessed that I got this opportunity. And like you said, I guess it's a screen because it's on phone, but it's perfect because in this current day and age, that's what entertains people is the phones. So I am extremely blessed with how God kind of flipped that thing around for me.
Hey, and when you were saying that, it reminded me of that Bible verse when he said, your ways are not my ways.
Absolutely.
And your thoughts are not my thoughts.
Oh, God was like, when I was like, I'm going to become a voiceover actress, he was in heaven like...
Laughing.
Crack the water open just like that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we can have an idea
That's all it'll ever be.
or where our life gonna go. But he got the final say so
And everything.
So that's good that we have an idea. But a lot of times, because I didn't try so many things.
Absolutely.
Like I used to be a gospel rapper.
Really?
Yeah, I went on a tour and everything, and I just knew that what God had called me to do. Like I didn't. But everything I done started, it was all based on my creativity.
Absolutely.
Probably except for when I had like a lawn service.
You don't think that was from God?
Nah, everything come from God.
Right.
I'm talking about for like that was launched out my creativity.
I got you.
Because it don't take too much creativity to just cut grass.
I disagree. Because I have a listen. You can't edge up my lawn, and I come home and it's not beautiful like I want it to be. Like some people can really mess up their yard. When I see a well maintained yard, I feel like there's creativity in that. Like somebody took their time. It's like how God knows every single hair in our head to edge that lawn or to make sure. I have seen where my bush has been dismantled a little bit. Like I think it was higher. It was like a high right, low left. I don't remember it being this way when I left, So you have to be really meticulous in the way that you edge those bushes or cut that yard. So I disagree a little bit. In everything you do, you should operate in excellence. And you can tell the people who do. You can tell the people who show up to work because yard A looks remarkable.
Right.
And yard B does not. Those are two different people.
Yeah, you're right. I ain't even think about it like that. So, big salute to everybody out there cutting some grass this summer.
Absolutely.
Get that bag
so
up,
important.
baby.
It's so
like,
important.
for real.
Like, anything, I am telling you, from maintaining yards to acting, show up in excellence. Like, show up in excellence. That has been a personal philosophy. That's what I teach my children. Don't show up and just half-ass.
Right.
Whatever you do, use your whole ass.
Your whole ass,
Absolutely.
man. And you
Show
heard
up.
it here.
Absolutely. Right here on this podcast. And I mean that. What I'm saying is that don't just say you're going to be an actor and show up somewhere and the paper is shaken because you can't say the lines because you're so nervous because you didn't get any training.
Yeah.
Train yourself. One thing that the Skits has absolutely done for me is built up my confidence. Now, I've always been very confident, so I want to be clear here. But there is something about when you're on camera and then you see the playback and you're like, that's how that looks?
Right.
But now I don't care because that's what y'all got. Meaning I cared initially. I had to have the right angle, and I still do. So I want to be clear. There are different angles and there are different looks that matter to me. But at the end of the day, if the message was conveyed, if I carried that scene or if it conveyed a thing which brought you to a certain emotion, then that matters more to me than the angle, than the look. So in doing the skits more and more and more, it has built my confidence. Like, Natasha, the stuff you're caring about, people don't care about.
Yo.
You delivered the message. They understood the assignment. On to the next thing.
Nah, for real. And it does take a level of confidence
Absolutely.
to move like that.
Absolutely.
Because if the confidence were there, you would be in your head about every little thing.
We do that in life anyway. I am automatically an overthinker, right? If I am expecting a call and I didn't get the call, 30 things went wrong in my head. Oh my God, why didn't they call? Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. But there is a training that has to come with like not thinking that way, like not necessarily going to the third thing down in my mind that could be possibly wrong. Nothing's wrong. They just forgot. So to your point, it just once again is a discipline that you have to create within yourself.
Yeah, that discipline got to be there, and you don't realize how important you hear about discipline growing up.
Absolutely,
but you don't realize how important your discipline is until you get out and you responsible for everything.
Absolutely.
You responsible for keeping your lights on,
Absolutely.
feeding your kids,
Absolutely.
like making money. So that discipline definitely got to be there. You
Absolutely.
know, do you ever do a skit that triggers you?
In what way?
That probably like reminds you of an old situation and it kind of like takes you back to that situation in your head.
So there is not a skit that takes me back to a place that I have grown from. But every time I do a skit, I am reminded of a conversation that I had 1 year ago, and it was a very disheartening conversation. It was, you are too old to act. What are you up there doing? It was just like, okay, I'm getting off this phone now. Thank you so much. And it's so interesting that I still have that conversation in my mind. I still have the text message in the phone. Oh. And like I said, faith without works. And I just continued in it despite what was being said to me. So God then catapulted it. Like, I just have God to thank for it. And it's not like, nah, nanny, poo-poo, look at this, because who knew that this was going to happen? What it was is my opportunity met my preparation. I was prepared, because regardless of what you were saying, I was still training. Regardless of what you were saying to me, I was still doing the things that I felt necessary so that if, in fact, it ever came, I was ready. And when it did come, I was ready. And now I get calls from this same individual like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? And I'm just like, because I never treated them bad, and I never responded with that same energy. I kept my energy high. That's what we were talking about earlier. Not necessarily just being in that negative energy all the time. You said what you said. Now stand on it. Yeah. But I got to see that. One thing about those tables, they're going to turn.
Yeah, them tables get to turning and flipping and moving all kind of directions, don't they?
So with every skit, that I am reminded of that, and there is a sense of joy that comes to me, not because it is like, you get to watch this. There is a joy because I didn't give up, because you said that to me. Because how often in life do people say something to us and we allow what is said to essentially offset our destiny? Yeah. Stay in it. If you believe it, if this is something that you want to do, don't let those conversations or those thoughts minimize what you know in your heart you can do. God is going to give you the desires of your heart. God is going to give you the desires of your heart, but he's never going to tell you when they're going to come. So as long as you don't give up on you, he's not either. But life and the circumstances in life and the disappointments that we go through and the hardships that we go through are all matters of preparing us for what he does have for you. Right. So it's necessary sometimes to go through things, because when he does give it to you, now you are capable to receive it and stay there.
Amen.
So no skit that triggers me, but every skit inspires me, because here I am.
What you feel like just keeps you motivated to perform at the level you perform at?
Oh, my bloodline. My 3 beautiful children. I have the pleasure of doing this for all of you all. And I thank you so deeply from the bottom of my heart for just watching, and all of the comments, whether they are good or bad. It keeps that character alive, because she is not one that's going to get great comments. Like, that's who she is. Right. My job is to trigger you and to frustrate you in some way. But my children have watched their mother go to a corporate job and come home and take them to their activities, right, and then create my wardrobe to go and film. And they just smile in awe. And I think that what has been most important to me is that they now know that they can do anything. Like, there is just a little example every day. With every single time I get a call to show up to film, they get to observe it. So in their little minds, whether or not they realize it's happening or not, if she can do that, then what am I capable of doing? Right. And I remind them every day that it is partially my blood flowing through your veins. And if I believe that I can do anything, then you can too. So I am so grateful to be able to juggle so many things, and with the right mind, because it does get heavy. And shout out to all single parents, moms or dads. I know it gets hard. I know it gets tough, and I am tired. And there's just no other way I would have it, though. They can't come to me and tell me what they can't do. Not when I'm showing you what can be done. Oh. So that example for them, I just can't wait to see what God's going to do in their lives, because they've seen it firsthand. They're in that house with me. They hear the calls. They ask me, do you have to go film? They get excited when people walk up to me in the CVS or ask me for a picture or ask who they are. Right. So it has done so much for me in my life, and I'm just so grateful that they have been a part of this journey with me.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I have to ask you this before we get up out of here for my male viewers and listeners. Do you have a man? Is Miss Natasha Soulrich single?
Natasha Soulrich is single.
In real life. Are you actively looking to...
Natasha Soulrich is a whole wife. So let me be clear. I am a wife. I was born that way. I don't know what to say about that, or if people think that's cocky or not. But I was once married. I was married for a very long time and divorced and relocated to another state, and just decided to just do all the things that were in my heart with this now second part of my life. Right. So with that said, yes, I would love to be married again. I love the institution of marriage. I love seeing people just happy and in love. And it's not all good, let's be clear. Most of it's good, but there's always going to be some turbulence in any relationship, let's be clear. But I'm very skilled at this point in my life to, and even most recently, I have just learned to just not deny red flags in the beginning, because they're just going to come back to bite you in the end.
Right.
So I am wiser now to realize and not just be hopeful, like, okay, well, maybe if I just do this person's going to change. So have I dated? Yes. But I'm very quick to just use wisdom to see if this is my long-term partner or not, because that's the goal for me.
Yeah.
Some people just like to date and they love the butterflies, and that's all great. That's always a good feeling in the beginning of any relationship. But I am looking for longevity. For myself. To each his own, but for me, I'm looking for longevity.
What's a red flag that you refuse to ignore that you probably would have let slide back in the days?
Your emotional intelligence. So if you are so sweet to me in the car and we're talking and we get to the restaurant and you suddenly are snapping at the waitress, or I didn't, like, that's not okay with me. Like, how you treat people, your level of kindness matters to me. And it shows me right then and there that you're bipolar, because we were just in the car and you were just fine, but suddenly we get here and now you're popping off at people because you have this power or this authority. I don't like that. Also, when it comes to emotional intelligence, what I am looking for in a relationship is someone who can make me a better person, like get me thinking outside of what I already know. I want to grow with someone, and I want to be inspired by this person. Like, when you are speaking to me, I want to say, you know what, that is such a great way to look at that. Change my perspective. Help me understand things differently than I currently do. So there are several things, but just kindness is big on me. You have to have a meek and gentle spirit. Now, I'm not looking for no punk. Like, just know. I want to be very clear. What I'm saying is just not to be it's simple things. It's how you treat a waiter. It's did you hold the door for the person behind you, or did you just let it? It's just the simple things that I'm looking for, especially if you're different in another environment. Like if we're around friends or someone else and you're just all high and mighty, then I'm like, I need a consistent, be who you are with the janitor and the CEO. Just be consistent. That is what we're looking for. Nah,
that's definitely important. Like how somebody act when you bring them around, like your friends and different people, co-workers.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what he is about to say. Observe it. Those moments are important. That's when you need to sit back and just say, huh.
Yeah, like, and I never knew the significance of having a developed that emotional maturity.
Absolutely.
Until like just 2 years of experience.
Absolutely. The experience is going to make you wiser, right? But it's up to you to hold on to it, right? I have learned how to not treat people. I have learned in this circumstance that it is best to do A, B, and C. I have learned whatever those things are for you. But as you continually mature, we're going to feel it, right? And we can tell a boy from a man very, very instantly. But this is where lies the problem. Oftentimes, the boy that we want to believe is the man, we can't make him a man in those areas, but we believe we can. There are certain areas that we like about him. Okay, he's well-dressed. He speaks well. Okay, he was on time. Whatever those things are, right? But then as you start seeing those childlike behaviors, we assume we want to take on that nurturing state. Like, okay, well, maybe I can show him. No, don't do it. Now, I am also wanting to be clear here. There are things that we have to teach each other.
Right.
But don't believe that you are just so empowered that you can just change him and chisel him into this particular man that you're expecting you can do in your mind. I just don't think that that's our job to do. You come with the necessary qualities that I have and flaws,
right.
and I'm going to come with the necessary qualities that I believe that you need and flaws.
Right.
And then we just got to see if that works. We just got to see if that works. But if you are telling me you're going to be there at 8 and it's 10:03 and I'm calling you, there's no change in that. Like you didn't call, you didn't text, you didn't do anything. That's a problem.
Right.
And I'm not going to set myself up to be disappointed again. Now, had you got there and there's a valid explanation, I'm saying let's be real. Okay.
Yeah.
My mom went into cardiac arrest. Well, this will be your last date. Well, don't do the brother like that. Like he was, he couldn't call. He was emotionally distressed. But if there is no reason, I just got caught up or I slept, that's just not going to work for me.
Yeah.
Like you got to be a little bit more considerate than that.
Yeah, you just saying just like don't expect perfection from someone and you don't have perfection yourself.
Moving to Atlanta was the funniest thing to me because I go to the hair salon and I go to lounges and I just get to sit around a lot of women who have these really unreal expectations of
like what?
I'm not going to tell you. I am not going to be the one to tell you. But what I do is I listen and I say, there's just an expectation like a man has to make a certain amount of money just to be with you. Like I just feel like that's unreal.
Yeah.
That's not okay. That's not okay to even say before meeting the person. How do you know what he has gone through? Do you at least want to know about his history? Or I'm not saying date a broke guy, but what I'm saying is that how is the minimum $15,000 a week? And they just make those type of men, and you're just going to grab one and it's going to be okay. So it would be okay as long as he was making $15,000, but he can beat you behind every day.
Yeah, then
because that wasn't on the list.
Yeah, then it'd be like the women that expect that type of man, like they don't even make half of that every week. So it's like
it's not even apples to apples. That's, I think that's primarily what I hear. Like when I'm sitting there, I'm just like in awe.
So it's basically you looking for a come up.
Right.
Because
that's what it certainly sounds like.
You not I need somebody gonna match my energy. I make 15 bands a week, so I need a man that make 15 bands a week.
And if that were the case, then I would probably feel a little different. Like, I get it. She doesn't want nobody mooching off her. But that's usually not the case.
Nah.
That's usually not the case.
It's usually the ones they make 15,000 a year. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like I was watching the show, man. Shout out to my big cousin. He got a show, Ugly Money Nietzsche. He got a show called Trigger Alert.
Okay, tell us about it.
So what he do on the show, he bring like it'd be like 4 or 5. It's a panel of him and my other homie Biz, and it's like a panel of those 2 guys and like 4 or 5 women. And they, critique about the dating era we in and, and what women expect from men and vice versa.
Okay.
So it was a girl on us. She was saying, like, she not even going to consider marrying a guy unless he's a billionaire. Nah, she said she not going to be faithful to a man unless he a billionaire.
You see this face? This is what I'm talking about. Where is he going to come from, sweetheart?
Like I know, like I don't know too many people that just.
Did she say millionaire or B?
She said billionaire. She just skipped. She said that's the only way she will be faithful to a guy.
But ladies and gentlemen, she works at Family Dollar. But okay.
Hey, she probably work at Family Dollar for real too. That's the funny part.
And nothing against anybody that works there. But what I'm saying, that's what we're saying. It's like the standards are just so unrealistic. Meet people where they are. Meet people where they are. See if you like the character of that person. See if you like the qualities of that person. And then have a general list of what you're looking for, but please keep the money off of it. Please keep, just have some standards. Like, man, does he go across his mama's head every Friday when he, that should be on your list. Okay, that's run away from him. Okay. Make it make sense, these lists. But as it relates to money and having a specific amount, at the end of the day, that's not all you need. It's somebody that just has a lot of money. Do you not want somebody that can listen to you? Do you not somebody that is emotionally able to support you? Do you not want someone who is not overly emotional as a man to where you know that he can lead you? I need somebody that can lead me and that your emotions don't go all over the place when something bad is happening, because even if it looks like we're getting to the cliff, I got to ride with you because I know we're not going to go over it. Like, I know that you're going to figure it out by the time we get to that end. Like, I need to see that type of stability in you. Like, these things are, in my opinion, the things that need to be listed, not the money, not the, is he for it? I was just talking to a friend the other day, and she is happily married, and I just love them to pieces. And she said it was a conversation in the hair salon, and everybody was saying that this man needed to have at least a job and his own place because he was 40 years old or whatever, 40 something. That was just a general, I don't want to give it away too much. But long story short, she was a part of the conversation, and she was like, well, my husband was in his 30s and he was still living with his mom. He had a really good job and but he just was still there with his mom.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to assume that she was alone, and he was like, I don't need to have all these bills. I'm just going to help my mom. When he met her, they bought a house together. Now, she says, if that was my standard, I would not be happily married right now. Because why are you still living with your mom and you're 30-something years old? Right. That's typically how we perceive it. So she actually enlightened me in that moment. She was like, he just didn't feel like he should have two sets of bills. Just help his mama out until he finds somebody that he really wants to build a life with.
Right.
And they are completely fine. So like I said, to each his own. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a list or standards, but I am saying give people a try. Like, this social media has made us believe that everybody is rich by the age of 22, and I am not. I'm 42 years old, and I have just now discovered talents that I didn't know were there before. And that is because I have surrounded myself with people who have enlightened me and allowed me to grow in an area that was dimmed before. I hadn't entered into that world. And now I just get to see where God takes it. So that is all I'm saying as it relates to dating. I'm just looking for particular qualities, not necessarily monetary or houses or...
And this has been your dating segment with Natasha
we got through.
Soulrich.
Thank you. You're very welcome, and we will be back 7 p.m. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Carry on.
Leave it on that. Don't touch that dial. Hey, sis, I appreciate you for coming by here,
Thank you for having me. I've been promising you this forever.
Yeah, and I know you be busy, though, so I wasn't tripping.
And listen, he was not. He is just such a gentleman all the time. I have made promise after promise after promise, and I've been, okay, I'm filming now, or I have to go to work, and he is just completely understood. So thank you for having me today.
Because I'm the type of person, I never expect nobody to just move around me. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
But, I've met people who absolutely feel that way, and then they hold a grudge because you couldn't do it. So I thank you for your pliability or your flexibility. Yeah. It really is a nice trait to have.
See, that's when that emotional intelligence come in.
Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Hey, man. Big salute to everybody over there watching us on YouTube. Everybody listening.
Thank you.
Everybody listening on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever else y'all listen to me at. I thank you guys so much. And without y'all, there would be no us.
That's right.
And always remember, when you do what you do it like you're doing it for TV. And we go, yeet. Ayy.
Check runners.